Hello, my loves. Hello, hello, hello. My name is Dustina. This is Spiritually Boujee Astrology, and we're going to take a look at the astrological transits of October 21st to October 27th. Now, we're coming off of a very interesting few weeks of energy. There have been peaks in the energy, peaks of adrenaline, peaks of reactions, emotional reactions that do not match the vibration. They do not match the situation at hand. But all of a sudden, you are very, very aware that somebody just wants a sandwich. Bro, there's bread in the kitchen. It's not that big of a deal. Ah! Okay, go make your sandwich. Stop being so angry. Stop taking your shit out on other people. One of the things that I have repeatedly said over the last few months is that once we got into September, October, and November, unfinished business, unfinished business, things that we need to let go of, that we need to overcome, that we need to work through. And the energy of the last 2 weeks has put an extra emphasis and point on that unfinished business energy. Now, last week, we had a square between Mars and the Sun. That's how we started the week. We had a full moon in Aries squaring Mars. So we had a full moon in Mars sign squaring Mars, but it also was very, very loosely squaring Pluto. Squaring Pluto. There was an awareness of old patterns, old behaviors, old ways of doing things that needs to be overcome, that needs to be let go of. Unfinished business. Now, I've seen this manifest for people in a multitude of ways. And over the course of the last 6 to 7 weeks, identifying a pattern with people of letting them know this is what we have to let go of. This isn't for you anymore. This is what we move away from. This is the old wound, the unfinished business, the old pattern we have to break. For some of you, it has literally been a pattern of behavior, whether that has had to do with substances, whether that has had to do with trying to dominate and control others, feeling that old gangster come out going, ooh, you're testing my buttons, you're testing my boundaries. You're making the old me come out and I don't do this anymore. There's a reason you're going through those tests, because there is something about that old you that you still have not processed, something that the old you went through that you have still not healed. And because you haven't healed it, there's a reason to revisit it, to go back through it, to deal with it one more time. It is the old wounds, the old ways, the old triggers. For some of you, you've reconciled with someone. You let somebody back in. And everything looked great at first. Like they've done so much work and they're doing so much better. And I'm doing so much better. And maybe if we're going to come back together, we would do better together. And I love the thought. I'm not making fun of the thought. And I have seen situations where two people separate and they do go work on their healing process and come back as a better unit. But that's a rarity. It is a pattern, especially for narcissistic people, to commit to healing and fixing something long enough to disarm you and get you to come back to do what they want. And many of you let some people back in. And you've let in a situation that is now triggering you, bothering you, shaking you to your core, pressing all of your buttons. And you don't even realize how quick your nervous system has been getting rattled. You can just feel the anxiety, the tension, the pressure. I can't control myself right now. I don't feel like myself right now. I don't like how I feel. And I get that. The universe puts us back into situations to see if we will repeat the pattern. Now, sometimes the way it manifests is like putting us into a relationship with the same old person doing the same old song and dance. Sometimes we get the same old person, but it's got a different face, and we start to do the same old song and dance. And because this person doesn't look exactly the same as the last person, we don't identify the situation. We don't identify the problem. We look at it as it's completely separate, and we don't take a step back to recognize the similarity in the pattern. One of the reasons I did that flash sale last week is I knew that as we got through the week, people were going to be hitting boiling points. And then they were going to have to try to narrow down the pattern, the situation, the frustration, the thing they need to let go of, the fear. And that has been a lot of what my time has been, is helping people understand what's rocking their nervous system. You've given too much control to a situation. You've held on to something for too long, and it isn't healthy. You have allowed yourself to be stuck in a situation that you do not have to be stuck in. Many of you do it to yourselves. Maybe not initially. You don't initially look at this idea as like, okay, once I get with this person, I'm going to be stuck forever. No, you don't look at it that way. You feed yourself with the delusion of the possibilities of the good, and you forget to read the behavior. You forget to read the pattern. Actions are louder than words. Actions. Over the course of the last few weeks, there has been a lot of actions, a lot of reactions, a lot of impulsive behavior that was meant to bring a certain kind of energy to light. It was meant to bring something into awareness. You are repeating the pattern. You are doing the same old song and dance. You did it to yourself again. You let this go on again. You welcomed it in again. It takes time. But a lot of the energy that we go into this week is that reflective energy of having someone or something shine a mirror in your face of going, hey, you did this to yourself again. No. This is different. This is different. He doesn't treat me like that. She doesn't do these things to me. Really? Sounds exactly like Jimmy Boy as Johnny Boy all over again. We just have a different face. There's a mask. We don't pay attention to the red flags. We make excuses for them. And what good is that doing us? How is that helping us? For many people, it's not helping you at all. We have to be cognitive of certain things, recognize certain patterns and behaviors. And as we go into this week, there will be recognition of the abuse, of the trauma, of the struggle, where we need help, where we need to let go, where we need to overcome. On Tuesday of this week, we will have a square between the Sun and Pluto, and it will be the final square between Libra and Capricorn. We are ending something. We are letting go of something. Now, for some of you, you will not be in the immediate action of release or letting go. You won't. It will only be the recognition. It will only be the light. Because it is the Sun squaring Pluto. And then within 24 hours of that square, the Sun goes into Scorpio. It goes into Pluto's sign. Whatever comes to light now becomes the awareness of what we must fix, what we must overcome, what we must release, what we must settle ourselves around. We can't keep repeating the old behaviors. We can't keep repeating the old way of doing things. We can't keep repeating the patterns. We got to let go. There's a lot of awareness to the energy this week. I don't feel like this week is a big week in regards to actions and reactions and fighting and tension. I do feel like there will be triggers, especially whenever the sun goes through its final square to Pluto. And if you have people in your life that are struggling with their mental health, you need to check on them. Because a lot of times when we have heavy squares to Pluto, people let fear take over. Don't let fear take over. Don't let a temporary moment and a temporary energy set something so drastic into a long-term effect. The long-term effect should be healing. It should be letting go. It should be moving forward. But for many people, there is going to be a struggle with even the idea or concept of that. We have to move forward. We have to take different steps forward. We have to let go of what's holding us back. Because again, one of the things about that full moon in Aries was it was coming to a peak and trigger of a 6-month course correction. We are now at the start of course correction. And to get on the correct course, to go in the new direction, to follow the new path, to see the new light, to live the new life and have the new experiences and have the other side. We have to let go of the things that disrupt our peace and hold us back. The heaviest part of this week is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. After that, it's not so heavy. I don't feel like there's going to be a lot of actions this week. I actually feel like there's going to be a lot of people that are very much sitting within themselves, trying to again understand, trying to again find a way to change, to do something different, to take corrective actions. But I don't know that we will immediately see corrective action. I actually don't feel like we're going to start to see it until we get into November. But the awareness of something really clicks in this week. Whether you are finding the awareness within yourself, whether you are showing the mirror to somebody and making them look at their reflection and look at the things that they've been doing, or whether you are the one being forced to look in the mirror, there is a corrective action that we become very aware of this week. I don't know that we're all going to be taking it. Certain things have already clicked into place. We have one little final thing of clicking something into place before we actually do take on full corrective action. And again, I think for a lot more people, that's going to be the first week of November. Okay. Let's get into the transits. Let's get into Monday. Oh, what did I do? Nope, wrong one. Oh, Dusty does stupid things sometimes. Come on, give me a break. All right, moving along. We're getting into Monday, October 21st. The moon is going to be in Gemini for the most part of the day. It's still in Gemini right now, and it is actually making a conjunction to Jupiter. So that's a part of what we're starting with. Between 1:30 and 3:30 a.m. Central Standard Time, the moon makes a conjunction to Jupiter. Jupiter's the doctor, the guru, the teacher. There can be something about mothers or our emotions, something that we're talking about. We're asking someone for their advice. We're gaining advice. We're gaining some type of knowledge. For if you're doing weird stuff in the middle of the night, you might be talking to the doctor. Everybody's in different places whenever it comes to taking care of other people. But there is some type of lesson. There is some type of luck. There is something that is meant to be very, very hopeful in this energy, but it can also be talking to someone who gives you hope, who gives you support about, again, the wound, the trigger. All day on Monday, we have the sun building its square to Pluto, but it doesn't go exact on Monday. So knowing we have this extra element, the moon Jupiter conjunction is happening in Mercury sign while Mercury is in Pluto sign. There is just depths and layers to the awareness of what we need to let go of what we need to change, of the direction that we need to take moving forward. And the moon's conjunction to Jupiter, it can be a very, very lucky energy. This goes again, the most exact between 1:30 and 3:30. You can see this right here. And then it's pretty chill throughout the rest of the night until we get to the afternoon. So I'm going to get this to 1:30. That works. Okay. Between 1 and 3 p.m. Central Standard Time, Neptune is now entering a square to the moon. We can be talking about and reflecting on something from the past, something very, very nostalgic, given the Neptune energy. We can be talking about substances and the abuse of them, given that Sun square to Pluto and Neptune square to the moon. Now, what I like about Neptune square to the moon is they're going in two different directions. So if we're talking about those addictive like qualities or vices, gambling, drinking, whatever that vice is, there could be something about, I don't want to be doing this anymore. And letting go of, again, something that anchors us to a past, the old behaviors, the old wounds, the old situations. But for some people, this isn't going to be that heavy. For other people, it's going to be a moment of confusion with Neptune square to the moon. For other people, it's going to have, again, a little bit of nostalgia, talking about stuff from the past, but not necessarily in a heavy way. We can be talking about our spirituality, giving some type of information to someone that they don't directly agree with the practice or the behavior, but it has extra layers and it gives extra levels. Now, immediately following Neptune square to the moon's going to go into a trine with the sun. Now, we feel that the most exact between 3 and 5 p.m. So I now got this at 3:30. Here's the moon, 28 degrees, 40 minutes square in the trine to the sun. Trines are triangles, air to air, flow to flow, obviously. There's something very logical, something very knowledgeable, something that is being spoken about, awareness of something that we need to do, of how we need to help someone, even if not everybody's involved or wanting to help. What's interesting about when the moon goes through its trine with the sun is it's also going through a quincunx with Pluto. It ain't seeing Pluto. So this is like getting advice from someone that isn't in the situation. Maybe they have experience in it, like, hey, whenever you talked to Joe about when Sally was cheating, whenever you found out about that, how did you go about it? Because I think I need to go tell my brother that his girlfriend's cheating. I need to go talk to somebody else. Now I'm going to go with cheating for just a quick little example. There's not specific to cheating, but it's like getting advice from someone who's not a part of the entire situation, who doesn't know the other side, who doesn't know the other person, but that doesn't mean that they don't have knowledge and they don't have awareness, because again, Mercury is in Scorpio. So it's gaining knowledge, talking through something that the other person won't be there with you whenever you have a conversation. Or it's making some type of advice or judgment, again, about another side that we're not a part of, that we don't see eye to eye with. Like, look, I know you still want to go hang out with him, but I'm not going to be a part of that. I'm not a part of this situation. I'm not going to be a part of this group. I don't want to hang out. I don't want to do shit like this. Like, no. You want to do you, you have fun, do you. I don't have to be a part of it. And that can also be a part of this vibration. Okay. After the trine between the moon and the sun, ain't a whole lot going on. The moon's going to go void until 5:50 p.m. And at 5:50, the moon is going to go into Cancer. And we can start again, I cannot talk today. Woo! Dealing with our emotions, having something brought to the surface, having some type of energy coming through. And do not be surprised if you go into a moment somewhere between Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and you just can't control the tears. because of how some of the transits are going to go when the moon is in Cancer. But please understand, if somebody's showing you the mirror, if somebody's holding that up for you, they care about you and they're trying to help you. Other people, you're going to see something that is triggering. You're going to see something that truly puts something into your mind and you're going to react emotionally. Are we all doing that right here on Monday? No. But again, remember, all day Monday, the sun is building a square to Pluto. And then once the moon goes into Cancer, a lot of our emotions have to do with this, things that we need to take care of in some ways, but in other ways, how we are processing and handling a situation. Now we're going to get into Tuesday. Now, between 1:20 and 1:35 a.m. Central Standard Time, Mercury is going to go through a trine with Saturn. Saturn is hosting Pluto. The sun is entering a square to Pluto. Mercury is in Pluto's sign. There's a lot of awareness to Pluto. The unfinished business, the struggle, the frustration, what we need to do to get over something, to fix something, the awareness towards corrective action. Now, Mercury is in a trine to Saturn, and Saturn is still retrograde. So Saturn is actually moving towards Mercury. There's some reception here. There's cohesiveness here. There's an awareness here. There's some type of news about the elder from an authority figure regarding a role, regarding some type of responsibility. And with the sun square to Pluto, that adds extra layers and extra depth. Now, not everybody is dealing with trauma. Some people are really dealing with scary things whenever it comes to their elders or people that are in places of authority. This can be a very heavy day when it comes to the authority figures, not necessarily all at 1:30 in the morning, but I mean the day, because of how this energy can play out. So I'm going to keep this going. Mercury in that trine to Saturn, there is communication, there is news, there is an understanding, there is a decision in many, many ways that can come to light over the course of the day, not all directly at 1:30 in the morning. And be aware of where your thoughts are at in the evening time, because you could suddenly come to terms and come to a decision late night Monday going into Tuesday that you're going to do something early in the morning on Tuesday. And that takes us into the next transit. Now, between 9:13 and 9:36 a.m. Central Standard Time, this is when we go through the exact square between the sun, 29 degrees, 40 minutes, and Pluto. Now, Mercury is still in that trine to Saturn. It's not exact anymore. We saw the exact already, but we can still see that there's a part of this vibration. There's some type of news. There's some type of understanding of something. And this is happening at 29 degrees. So we're getting closer and closer to recognizing things that we need to let go of. Some of you are going to be the mirror. You are going to be the sun, calling somebody out on their bullshit, calling out Pluto. You can't keep behaving this way. You can't keep doing this. Some of you are going to be dealing with like the old wounds, the old triggers, that old way of doing things. You will be Pluto in this situation. You will be the one struggling. But with Mercury's trine to Saturn happening simultaneously, there will be a way to voice what is happening in a way that's not normally there. Now, there can be something very, again, triggering and very hard to Tuesday, not easy to see, that creates a different level of disruption with the sun square to Pluto. So if you feel the weight in the energy this day, please understand that it is temporary energy. And if you see people that are struggling with it, check on them, do that little bit of extra, be kind, do your best, because not everybody's going to be able to do their best if they're struggling too. Just do your best. Okay. Oh, when we get into the afternoon, between 4:30 and 6:30 p.m., the moon is going to make a trine to Saturn. And while this is going on, this is actually when the sun is going to go into Pluto. So I expect some very weighted conversations to Tuesday, some very weighted energy of things coming into motion. And now the moon is in Pluto's sign, it's in Scorpio. So it's like we have something come to light. We have something that is finally seen. And what it is, once it's seen, once it's discussed, once it's coming to terms, the awareness of it is huge. And there are certain things in our life that once we experience them, once we see them, we cannot unsee them. That's what this feels like for a lot of people. Now, Saturn will go into a trine with the moon. We'll loosely have a grand trine energy here between Mercury, Saturn, and the moon. So it's like whatever comes to light, whatever becomes aware, whatever the decision is, whatever the news is, whatever we start communicating, whatever the whatever is, it has an effect on more than one person. It has a trickle down effect. It has a wider spread effect. There's an outsider coming into the situation that's learning about it. You're getting an extra call. Hey, can you take an extra patient? Can you do this extra thing? Can you work in an extra client? Can you help me with this? I need aid. I need nurturing. I need care. It might not be for you directly. It might be for somebody else. But there is an emotional understanding of something that can come through in the afternoon. So Saturn's trine to the moon is the most effective between 4:30 and 6:30. The moon's trine to Mercury is the most effective between 6:30 and 8:30. And all of this is happening as the sun goes into Scorpio. So be very aware of the energy of Tuesday, because again, something comes to light. Human effect, it could be Sunday, Monday. By transit, though, it's Tuesday. And whatever comes to light, whatever gets discovered, the awareness of this is so different because we are having so many finalities in the energy. And now that the sun is in Scorpio, we just had that final square to Pluto. We're coming to terms and becoming aware of the trauma, the triggers, the abuse, the old pattern, that old situation that does not need to continue, that is no longer acceptable. Whether these are internal struggles that are coming out or whether you run into something in external situations in your world, we need to work past something in some way. And for a lot of people, this will be a mix of both. It's like you see something and it brings up your own old wounds that you have to process. But in other ways, like you also have to have a different awareness of like, you're helping somebody go through something that you may have went through before, that you may have dealt with before. For some of you, you're finally closing some chapters. The awareness is there that we must close this chapter. We might not be able to take all the actions all at once, but the awareness is there. Okay, that's Tuesday. There's no other direct transits to Tuesday. We're in a lot of this vibration all day long. Information, news, all these types of things. For a lot of people, there's a triggered effect that trying to figure it out on Sunday, you're not going to figure it out until you're in it on Tuesday. Okay. We're moving this along. We're going to get into Wednesday. And Wednesday is, of course, the official start of Scorpio season, even though the sun has already been in Scorpio for a couple hours. Yay, Scorpio season. Ha. There is an awareness. Things are coming to light. Things are being seen. Oh, we're in the vibration. We're kind of in, I'm going to say a funky vibration because I feel like for some people, this is going to be very uplifting of finally, telling off that abuser type of situation. And then once you tell them off, like you are set in stone. But in other ways, like there's going to be emotional processing and trying to come to terms with something and a lot of need for nurturing and care. I don't expect very fast things to happen on Wednesday. I do feel like Wednesday's kind of a carryover from whatever we went through on Monday and Tuesday. And we don't start to pick up on the transits until the afternoon, specifically between 3:30 and 5:30 p.m. Central Standard Time when the moon hits the conjunction to Mars. Now, let's be clear about this. Mars is starting to slow down. Between the full moon in Aries and the new moon in Scorpio that we'll have in November, Mars is only going to move 6 degrees. He's starting to feel a little stagnant. He's not completely stagnant, but he can start to feel some things slowing down. It's not going quite the way that he was thinking. He thought he should be done by now. And in all actuality, Mars usually takes about 6 weeks to go through a sign. He should have been done with Cancer by now, and he won't be for another 2 weeks. So there's a part of this energy that really speaks to something being discovered, a disruption in the vibration, emotional disruption, emotional tension, hearing some type of news that's very, very infuriating and frustrating for some. But for other people, especially if we're in the better energy, whenever the sun goes into Scorpio, this Moon Mars conjunction can be about desires, a desire being met, meeting with someone for the first time, being seen by someone in a new light, being seen by someone for the first time, based off of the fact that the sun is newly in Mars's sign when the moon hits the conjunction to Mars. But for other people, this is going to be disruption. You're getting a phone call that's very, very hectic, that's very, very frustrating, not what we were anticipating. Now, the moon's going to hit this conjunction to Mars again, somewhere between 3 and 5:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, between 4:30 and 6:30. So I've actually got this at 4:30, so I don't even have to move it. Uranus is also going to go through a sextile with the moon. So I'm going to leave this here for just a second. And here in the next few days, Mars is going to have its first sextile to Uranus. A lot of the energies of things that can kind of come into place right now, that need to come to a close, that need to be overcome, can have layers to them throughout the entire corrective action timeline of what I'm talking about. So please be understanding that you can be at a completion in one way and starting something new in another way simultaneously. And you can have unexpected news, unexpected phone calls, unexpected situations that kind of come through in the afternoon, the most exact between 4:30 and 6:30 p.m. This does not have to do directly between Uranus and Mars because they have not gone exact yet, but this can also plant the seeds for whenever they do go exact here in the next few days. Okay, moving along. Oh, we get into the evening time between 7 and 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. The moon at 27 degrees is going to go through a trine with Neptune. There can be confusion. There can be frustration. There can be something about our spiritual side. There can be something about our beliefs, something that is being talked about. There can be lies that are being talked about. There can be hearing something that we're not quick to accept. We're not quick to acknowledge. You get some type of cryptic information, and you're not clear as to what's going on. You just get a phone call. Hey, I need you to come over right now. Why? Click. What is that? My brother's being weird. I got to go to his house. And you have no idea what's going on. Yeah, that type of thing. Very cryptic, odd energy. Now, that's with Neptune's trine to the moon. Sometimes it can be cryptic. Sometimes, again, it can be spiritual. Sometimes it can be a lot of nostalgia, talking about the past, fantasy type things for certain people. This might not have anything to do with the rest of the day. This might have everything to do with the rest of the days. And then we get into that midnight hour. So what I'm about to describe next, this is how we end Wednesday and go into Thursday. Between 11 p.m. on the 23rd and 1 a.m. on the 24th, for me, Central Standard Time, the moon is going to hit this opposition to Pluto. By hearing something, by understanding something, by being a part of something throughout the day, by whatever frustration kind of set in when the moon hit that conjunction to Mars, by whatever unexpected news that came through whenever Uranus was in the sextile to the moon, or Neptune's trine to the moon, whatever confusing thing kind of popped up, now we have to face something. Now we have to experience the weight of something. Now, this again is happening around midnight. So for some people, this is going to be a part of late Wednesday evening. For other people, this is going to be a part of Thursday morning. So I'm going to go ahead and bump this into Thursday morning. I'm going to keep talking. By going into this energy at such a peak point, some people are going to have a long night Wednesday into Thursday. They just are. For other people, it's not going to be a long night per se in the sense of like what's going on in your world, but it's going to be a long night up here, in here. because we're bringing awareness to something that needs to adjust. I don't feel like we have a lot of big actions this week. I feel like we have the awareness of actions. The moon will hit a opposition to Pluto in the transition of Wednesday into Thursday, and then it will go into a square with the sun. And you can kind of see that right here. Now, this actually goes more exact between 2 and 4 a.m. That's why I said I was just going to keep it going. Got this at 2:30. Here's the moon, 1 degree 1 degree 6 minutes. Here is the sun, 1 degree 22 minutes. You can see the square right here. This is the last quarter moon. We're moving towards a new moon in Mars' sign and in Pluto's sign. Be very, very aware of those little things that just happened over the course of the last few days, because they can make you aware of where we're going to have something new starting, where we will be taking action the first week of November. There's a lot more action to that week than there is this week. This is bringing more and more things to light, more and more things into awareness. Oh, last quarter moons obviously starts to wind down a lot of the energy. And that's why I was saying, once we get through the first half of this week, I don't feel like this is a big week for a lot of people, but I feel like things do become aware. There is disruption and there is the potential of fighting and tension. But I don't feel like this is all raw, brand new. It's a mixture of that, of new and endings simultaneously. By becoming aware of what we have to let go of, it sets us into new things. Okay, I'm going to keep going. Oh, late night, again, Wednesday going into Thursday, might have a difficulty sleeping. It is what it is. The next transit that goes the most exact is not actually going exact until the afternoon. And between 4 and 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, so I got this at 4:30, the moon is going to make a trine to Venus. Fire to fire. This is a different kind of energy. And this doesn't actually feel like it's connected to anything else that we've just dealt with. This feels hopeful. This feels helpful. This feels empowering. We're talking about the appearance of something. We're talking about how the beauty of something makes us feel, how this food tastes. We're looking at something else completely. Are we aware of what just happened? Yes. But does this feel like it's connected to the rest of that? No, it doesn't. It actually feels very clean, very clear, very hopeful, very uplifting in a multitude of ways. And I don't get to say that very often. We've had a heaviness throughout the week. We need to get to a point that it's not so heavy. This does not feel heavy. I feel like we can be in a good vibration throughout the day on Thursday. And this is just kind of showcasing a reflection of that. Talking about the changes in appearances, talking about the change in our ideas, what we're going to do different to make money, how we're doing something now. I can see this is making you feel so much better. I can see the difference in your face. I can see the difference in your reflection. I can see the difference in you. Moon in Leo, trining Venus in Sagittarius. New looks good on you, baby. Okay. Now, right after this goes exact, the other thing that we are going to have is the exact sextile between Uranus and Mars. That happens between 7:10 and 7:55 p.m. Central Standard Time. So here's Uranus, 26 degrees, 10 minutes. Here's Mars, 26 degrees, 10 minutes in their first sextile. First of 3. We're going to have others that are going to happen next year. And they're going to be a part of that layered effect of, again, some of the corrective course energy. So you can have something very unexpected come through. You could still be in that high vibration. You can still be trying to do something that uplifts your energy. You can still be feeling really good. Uranus is being hosted by Venus in Sagittarius. She's in a much better position right now. And there is a hopeful energy that can be a part of this, an exciting energy that can be a part of this. And again, there's something a little bit unexpected. Hey, you want to go somewhere? Hey, you want to do this thing? Hey, you want to meet up? You want to talk about something? I got an idea. Now, the day before, when the moon was in that little meeting period of 2 Mars and then sextile Uranus, you could have set the appointment the day before of, hey, you want to go meet up at a bar, or you want to go have dinner? You want to do this thing with me? Yeah, well, I can't tonight. I can tomorrow. Okay, cool. Let's meet tomorrow. And then you have some type of unexpected conversation that has a bit of a spark to it. It brings the awareness of a spark to it, something that feels like it could be really good for a long period of time, even though we're not doing something in that moment for a long period of time. There's a little bit of a spark. Be aware of what's coming through in the energy right here, because there is a spark. Okay. Okay. As for the rest of the day on Thursday, ain't a whole lot going on. The moon is in Leo. We've got a different vibe. We can be getting in tune with our spooky side, wanting to have a little bit of fun. We're getting into Friday. And the first thing that's going to happen is going to happen in the morning time. And between 10:30 a.m. Central Standard Time and 1 p.m., the moon is going to go through a square with Mercury. Mercury's chilling. He's not in shadow. He's doing his thing. He's not really messing with anybody. The moon's not really messing with anybody. This is questions. This is conversation. This is talking about a plan. Do you want to do something? Do you want to change this thing? What do we do? Still trying to get our acts together. Collecting information. This is not heavy. It's not heavy. It can be questioning. There can be something that comes to light that we find out about in regards to some level of communication or planning from someone else. We can find out something about our cars. We can find something about some travel, something about logistics, something about a purchase that we've made, feeling compelled to make a purchase right here, knowing that it can have a bigger investment later. Like, it's not heavy. It's actually like a really nice energy. So I like this. Now, this again happens the most exact between 10:30 and 1 p.m. Central Standard Time, lunchtime energy. And then after that, the next thing doesn't happen until later in the afternoon between 4 and 6 p.m. I got this at 5:30, so we're a little bit past it right here. And that is Jupiter going through a sextile with the moon. Now, Jupiter is being hosted by that Mercury. So this can be one extra layer to what happened earlier, where we need help with something, where we've got something going on, getting some type of extra knowledge from the doctor, the guru, the teacher, talking about something around that energy, with that energy, getting guidance from that level of energy, someone that gives you hope, gives you support, gives you extra in some type of way, recognizes what you're doing, kind of I want to say inflating the ego a little bit, but it's like gassing you up type of energy. Like, girl, you got this. Homie, you look so good. This is going to be so great. I'm so proud of you. Da-da-da-da. This is a gas up energy. This is not heavy. Enjoy the vibration. I like Friday. It's not heavy, not a whole lot going on. Just do your thing. Don't stress out. Don't feel forgotten either. There's no need for any of that. All right. After that, we ain't got a whole lot going on, and we're getting into Saturday. I like the end of the week. Honestly, I do. Now, the moon is still going to be in Leo for most of the day between 2 and 4 a.m. Central Standard Time. So I got this now at 3:30. Uranus, 26 degrees, 7 minutes, is going to square the moon. Now we can have something unexpected come through either late Friday night or early on Saturday morning, some level of excitement, something unexpected, something that just kind of changes the tune a little bit. I do feel like Friday is going to be like a high vibration. Let's do something a little out of the norm, knowing that there's nothing in the transits unless this is activating your natal chart in some way. That's a different conversation. But based off the transits, there's nothing crazy going on. So it's like being able to take advantage of something that we haven't got to do yet, that we haven't done before. Looking for inspiration, doing something that does inspire us, taking a little bit extra time to talk about what has bothered us, but that we want to be rid of, that we want to be free of, that when we want to be independent of. Now, we're doing that all at 3:30 in the morning. No, for some people, this is going to manifest late evening on Friday. For other people, it's going to be you get up Saturday morning. I'm like, I want to go do something. I never do. What do you want to do? I don't know. But right now, I don't want to sit still. Let's go to the zoo. Let's go to the park. Let's go somewhere else. I don't want to be here right now. And it does not have to be a bad thing. Oh, sorry. Okay. So the next thing we have going on is not going to happen until later in the morning at 10:48 a.m. Central Standard Time. The moon is going to go into Virgo. You see that right here. It's not a heavy day. If you want to get out and you want to do something that you've never done before, do something that's kind of out of the norm, I think that a lot of people should do that. Enjoy the day, enjoy the vibration. And there's not a lot to the weekend. Like, this is a great weekend to either unwind or to go do something that would just help you distract your mind versus being so weighted in the layers of the energy. Do something fun and exciting. Now, when we get into the evening time, the moon is going to make a sextile to the sun. And we're going to feel this the most exact between 6 and 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. So we have the moon in Mercury's sign, making a sextile to the sun. And what is Mercury doing at this moment? Well, that's the interesting part. Is it's making a quincunx to Jupiter. I want to do something that they wouldn't want me to do. I want to go somewhere that they would never do with me, that I want to be doing something. I want to plan something. I want to talk about something that I know they're not going to like, that they're not going to agree with. They're not going to see eye to eye with me if I do said thing. Now, why do I say that? The moon is now in Mercury's sign while Mercury is going through a quincunx to Jupiter, but Mercury is also hosting that Jupiter. So it's just like, by doing something like this, even if it's the most innocent of behaviors, the other person's going to get mad. They ain't going to like it. They're going to be like, what the hell? Why would you do this? Why are you acting this way? You think about all of the times in the past that they would have said something negative. For other people, it's not going to be anything negative. It's going to be like, I know I'm supposed to be on this diet and the doctor said no more high cholesterol stuff, but I'm going to eat this turkey leg. Like, we're doing something. We're making a decision in this moment. It doesn't feel heavy. It doesn't feel bad, but we know somebody else is just not going to agree. And that's just kind of like the running pun or the joke that we can feel by having this conversation. Like, I want to do this thing. It's going to be super fun, but I know so-and-so is not going to like it. So I'm doing this for me. And no matter what anyone else says, it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. So keep that in mind. After this, it's not heavy. Do something different, do something quirky, do something out of the norm. No big deal. And now we're going to get into Sunday. And again, Sunday, super chill. It's nice energy. I like the end of the month. I really do. It's after we get into November that things are going to get different, but I like the end of the month. Okay. So between 9:30 a.m. Central Standard Time and noon, so I got this at 10:30, the moon in Virgo is going to make a square to Venus. Now, the other thing that I said about Saturday is that Mercury is going through a quincunx to Jupiter. Mercury is still in a quincunx to Jupiter, while the moon in Mercury's sign is going through a square to Venus in Jupiter's sign. So again, you might have did something the day before, knowing somebody else is not going to be happy if you do it. And then the next day you go and show them, hey, look, I pierced my ears. You're not old enough to pierce your ears. Why would you do that? Well, Dad said I could. You're showing somebody, you're talking about the appearance change. It's not that it's a bad decision. It's not that it doesn't look pretty, but somebody made a decision that the other person is not seeing eye to eye with. And it's like, we can see little glimpses of a result. And that's why I'm using something so basic as, like, think of the split family situation where dad has his rights, mom has hers. Mom said you can't get your ears pierced until you're older, but dad takes you when you're 13. Like, that's what this feels like. And mom and dad might not be on the same page, but you're still happy you got your ears pierced. Think of your inner child right there. Some of you are actually going to have situations like this with your children where they're coming back from dad's house and they got something, they have something that you don't agree with, that you're not happy about, but they're happy. And you just kind of have to deal with it because it's co-parenting, not that full relationship where you can have full autonomy over another. And that shouldn't be a good behavior in parenting anyways, but that's a different conversation. But this was what this feels like. You're showing something off that the other person might not be happy with. They might not agree with. And the best thing to say sometimes is like, well, as long as you're happy, as long as you're happy, baby. Okay. That's what this feels like. Making a decision that affects the appearance, that makes someone feel real hopeful and boastful, that gives additional layers of reflection, additional layers to the shell, but it's not meant to be heavy. Now, speaking of heavy, can be heavy. It doesn't have to be heavy. Kind of depends on the situation. Between 12 p.m. and 2 p.m., so I got this at 1:30, the moon is going to make its opposition to Saturn. Now, this is really interesting to me, and I want to spend some time about this a little bit more on the closing whenever it comes to Saturn, once Saturn now is at 12 degrees. And as you can see, he just hit 12 degrees over the course of Sunday. We can be talking about something that we are wanting to change. We can be talking about responsibilities. We can be talking about healthy levels of communication and boundaries, how we're supposed to be respecting one another, and finding the best way to do that, and not getting too mad in front of the kid that just got their ears pierced. I don't know why, but this is the example I want to go with. Hey, in the future, responsibility says you should, talk to me about it too. Don't just make these decisions on your own. I know she's happy and they're super cute, but what happens when they get infected? What happens if she tears her ear? What happens? We have to have a different conversation. And there can be some weightedness to this part of the energy, but for other people, it's going to be something different. And that's going to take me into the closing. The last time Saturn was in these areas of the sky was back in March. That's when Saturn entered shadow. And one of the things that I have repeatedly said is we would have some things that we started earlier this year. They're not going to last through the summer. And a lot of people, you had that situation. You tried that new thing. You made that new friendship. You did the new. You tried the what, the who, the what. And it didn't stick. It wasn't supposed to stick. Certain things were not supposed to stick. But now that we're getting into this newer energy, we are becoming more aware of what is meant to stick. And we're coming into an energy that is taking us, again, to areas and layers of where we're going to have testing in the energy from what we did earlier this year. Now, what I'm about to describe, I've already been seeing the patterns of, based off of Pluto being back at that 29 degrees of Capricorn, and he has been since September, based off of Neptune now being back at this 27 degree mark, which has had a lot of key points that over the last 2 years, but I don't want to get over the 2-year mark. I just want to talk about springtime. And Saturn, that ruler of time and karma. There are things that we started in the springtime that we round back to them by this time. And one of the things that I started to describe before was like, look, you're going to start doing this with someone in some way, and it's just not going to stick. It's not going to stay the same way. Something's going to change. Either their unfinished business is going to take them into a different direction. Their behaviors is going to trigger all your old insecurities, and you're going to realize that you don't want to continue with a person. And over the course of the next few weeks, basically starting now, this week, I've already seen a little bit of it, but I mean little bits. It's been very micro energy. So I know if I'm seeing the micro energy now, that all of us are going to start seeing the bigger patterns as we continue. And this is going to be something that we continue to deal with all the way until after Saturn turns direct. And that's not going to happen until November 15th. So we have a lot of energy that's taking us back to the stuff that we were doing before, starting to bubble up now, starting to come to the surface now. And there can also be awareness of that comes through in that moon Saturn opposition on Sunday. And I want to be very clear about that. There can be something else in the energy that we become aware of that we need to work on, that we're coming back to, that we're going back to, that's coming back up in some way. Hey, I know we started to do this like every other weekend thing back at the beginning of the year and it's gone so well. And maybe we should start doing every weekend. Do we want to start talking about how we're going to do the holidays now? Like, we got to talk about the plans for how we're going to do this with the kids. This has worked so far, but now we need to do the next step. We need to do the next part. We started doing this in business and everything is going well. I think we're going to have to look at the idea of expanding so that way we can bring on more people to make more money. We're coming to the next step. There is an awareness in a multitude of ways of how we need to make a change this week. And for some people, especially the beginning part of the week, there is a bigger heaviness of that change, a bigger heaviness in the awareness. But then when we get to the end of the week, it's not the same. There's two very different vibration patterns throughout this week. And it's quite literally once the moon goes into Leo and the sun goes into Scorpio that I feel like that awareness change is going to set in. Not everybody is going to have a detrimental heaviness at the first part of the week, but that doesn't mean that they won't still feel the weight of the energy around them. And if you are feeling weightedness in the energy, but you don't have a reason to be sad, check yourself. Go for a walk. Do whatever you need to do to break out of the funk. Don't let that energy grab you if there's no necessity for it. Work through it. Be aware it's temporary. For other people, it's going to put something in motion. There will be actions and reactions involved. There'll be things that get brought to light and awareness that we have to deal with. We have to start talking about. And that too can be a part of the vibration and the energy throughout the week. The biggest part of this week is I feel like there is an awareness of change, an awareness, something coming to light, something coming into focus. For some of you, that change is going to be good. You are going to make the necessary steps to go in a different direction, to seek a different pattern. It will be good. For other people, there will be wounds. And for some people, those wounds are not new. The thing about January of this year, whenever Pluto was at 29 degrees, is there was a lot of depressive weight in people that needed to be reflected upon. And after Pluto went into Aquarius, that energy wasn't so heavy anymore. We were processing it. We were working through it. We were dealing with that energy. I didn't realize how heavy Pluto in Capricorn was until it went back in Capricorn in September. Some of you are still not realizing that you are being affected by that energy. The fears, the frustrations, all that old energy, it keeps popping back up for a reason. It is so that we make the necessary changes. See the corrective action we must make. Become aware of our work that needs to be a part of the course correction that will be the next 6 months. Something comes to light this week. The heaviness of it, the weightedness of it will be different for everyone. But it is an awareness, more so than anything else. I feel an awareness of this week. Not so much an action. I feel like there are actions and reactions that are going to come through after November 1st. That's taking us into next week, but also next month. Enjoy Halloween. Enjoy these last few days of October, because I'm not a big fan of the holidays, especially Thanksgiving. Woo! Especially Thanksgiving. American Thanksgiving. Sorry, Canadians and everyone else that doesn't celebrate Thanksgiving. American Thanksgiving, that last Thursday of November. Yeah. Not a fan. Not a fan. Christmas is a little bit lighter than Thanksgiving, but it's still there. There's still a lot coming. So when I say we have a bit of an easier week and we have energies that are reflective to doing something lighter and less pressure on your mind and on your heart, I mean it. Enjoy the rest of the month. Get through Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Let's get into Scorpio season. And then enjoy the rest of the month. Because whenever we get into November, the vibration changes. So take the downtime while you have it. Enjoy while you can. Okay. I love and appreciate every single one of you. I will talk to everybody very, very soon. Subscribe.